It begins with a man who saw too much. In a quiet European village surrounded by forests and stone houses, there lived a man who dreamed differently. At night, when others closed their eyes in silence, his mind lit up like fire. He dreamed of storms before the clouds gathered. He dreamed of arguments before neighbors even spoke the words. He dreamed of illness before the first fever burned a body. At first, the village whispered about him with awe. How extraordinary, they said. Perhaps he is chosen, perhaps he is blessed. People came to him secretly. A mother asked, "Will my child recover?" A farmer asked, "Should I plant early this season?" And often his words proved true. For a time, the man was a wonder, but wonder never stays pure for long. From reverence to fear, one day he dreamt of fire, and when flames later consumed a barn, people asked, "Did you cause it?" He warned of loss, and when misfortune struck, they asked, "Do you want this to happen?" Suspicion began to coil like smoke, because a human mind struggles with mystery. When we cannot understand, we blame, and when we fear, we seek an enemy. Soon, the man who had once been visited with reverence was visited with suspicion. At the market, voices fell silent when he walked by. Children were told, "Do not play near his house." His dreams, once seen as gifts, became curses he carried alone. The man had not changed, but the eyes around him had. And so, his visions, once a marvel, become a burden he could not escape. This is the paradox of the seer. The gift of seeing what others cannot often becomes the reason they are cast out. Carl Jung wrestled with this paradox his entire life. He knew that to see deeply into the human unconscious was both illumination and danger. Dreams, symbols, archetypes, these were not just curiosities to him. They were maps of the soul. But Jung also knew this. To speak of these things too openly risked misunderstanding. To share visions others are not ready to accept risks exile. He lived this tension himself. His break with Freud is often told as rivalry, but underneath it was something more profound. Freud insisted that the unconscious was merely a container for repressed desires, mostly sexual, a biological machine, predictable, limited. But Jung saw more. He saw the unconscious as a vast living landscape, a place of myth, of spirit, of timeless archetypes, the hero, the shadow, the mother, the trickster, and more. Freud saw biology, Jung saw the soul. And the world is rarely kind to those who speak of souls. Jung described the danger of seeing what others don't in two ways. First, the danger of being misunderstood. When you carry insights others are not ready to hear, they may not reject the truth itself, but the discomfort it brings. You become the messenger they punish, because the message shakes the foundation of the world. They laugh, they dismiss, or they exile. Second, the danger of losing balance. To spend too long in visions, in dreams, in the symbolic world, is to risk forgetting the ordinary ground of daily life. Jung warned that one can drown in the unconscious like a diver who goes too deep and forgets to rise for air. The gift becomes a shadow. What once brings clarity can also bring madness. But perhaps this is not only about the great mystics or thinkers. You too know this feeling. Have you ever walked into a room and felt tension before anyone spoke? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and known the truth their words denied? Have you ever carried a sense of something wrong long before the evidence appeared? That is sight beyond sight, not magical, not prophetic, but deeply human. In those moments, you carry a fragment of the seer's burden, and with it comes the same quiet loneliness, the knowing of something others refuse to see. There is a story Jung liked of the whisperer. Imagine someone who notices small details, the twitch of a hand, the change in tone, the silence in a conversation. They whisper the truth. Something is wrong here. But instead of being thanked, they are silenced because no one wants the fragile illusion to be broken. You may have been that whisperer. You may have been told you are overreacting. You are imagining things. Stop being so dramatic. And so, to keep belonging, you learn to stop whispering. So, the question becomes, what do we do with this kind of sight? Do we hide it to stay safe? To stay accepted within the group? Or do we risk speaking, knowing we may be misunderstood or even cast out? Jung's answer was paradoxical as always. He said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And sometimes, becoming who you are means carrying visions others cannot bear. It means walking with truths others are not yet ready to hold. The danger of seeing what others don't is also the responsibility of becoming. But what if we bury it? Jung warned of another danger, the danger of suppression. When you bury your sight, your intuition, your truth, it doesn't disappear. It rots. It twists inward. It becomes anxiety, depression, even illness. The unconscious will not stay silent forever. What you refuse to see consciously will erupt unconsciously. In dreams, in symptoms, in patterns that repeat until you finally pay attention. So, there is no safe escape. The danger of seeing is isolation. The danger of not seeing is destruction. Jung himself lived both sides. There were times when he withdrew into visions so intense he feared for his sanity. He described nights filled with archetypal dreams, rivers of blood, ancient gods, cosmic battles. He nearly drowned in them. And yet, it was through those very visions that he developed his deepest insights. The collective unconscious, the archetypes, the individuation process. He was both the village seer and the man struggling not to drown in the weight of his own sight. So, what about us? The story of the village seer is not only about him, it is about us. Because each of us carries fragments of sight. We notice what others miss. We carry truth we hesitate to speak. We feel the undercurrents beneath the surface of daily life. The question is always, what do we do with it? Do we deny it, so we belong? Or do we honor it even at the risk of solitude? Carl Jung reminds us to see deeply is dangerous, but to close our eyes is death of another kind. Perhaps the real danger is not in seeing what others don't, but in pretending that we don't see at all. So, the next time you feel that quiet knowing, that intuition, that glimpse of truth that no one else admits, pause, listen, and honor it. Because while sight may bring loneliness, it also brings authenticity. And in a world built on illusions, authenticity may be the only real gift we have to give.